What do you do? It's a question we get asked almost every time we meet somebody new. And it's a question I've always hated answering. 7 years ago, it was because I was embarrassed about the answer. And today, it's because the answer takes so long. And no matter what you tell yourself that what you do for 40 hours a week doesn't define me, the moment you reveal what you do, some part of you feels judged. If you feel in alignment with your work, it feels easy to talk about. But if you feel your work is somehow incongruent to who you are, or who you thought you'd be, it can leave you with an awkward shame. A recent poll was taken from millions of people around the world in 200 different countries, and it found that 85% of people hate their job. A Seek survey found that 43% of Australians are thinking of changing their career in the next 12 months. As humans, we need both certainty and variety as basic human needs. So isn't having to go to the same place every day, 5 days a week, a little too much certainty to bear? We are multifaceted human beings with so many interests and desires. How can one job satisfy all of that? And we rush into jobs so quickly. I mean, put it this way. Would you go on a date with somebody, one date, and then move in with them the next week? Even if the date went really well? No, of course you wouldn't. That would be ridiculous. But we do that with jobs. You have an interview, maybe 2 if you're lucky, and then you move in for 8 hours a day, every day of the week. It's crazy. I am currently dating 10 jobs. And to be honest, I don't want a serious relationship with any of them. Could working in a non-monogamous workforce be the answer to our job dissatisfaction epidemic? My name is Helen Evans, and I have always wanted it all. When I was in school, I took an extra 3 subjects when most kids dropped 2. When I went to university, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so of course I did drama. I thought, as an actress, I can be everything. A doctor one day, lawyer the next. But of course, like most art students, I ended up working in hospitality, just till I figured out what to do. 15 years later, I was still working in bars and wondering what had happened. I spent a lot of my time studying other things. I went back to university, became a primary school teacher, worked as a freelancer, blogger, sold my crafts on Etsy. I tried everything, but kept in this loop of going back to hospitality. Who's ever heard this quote before or something like it? Choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. I think I heard that on Oprah or something. And I don't know, I just expected some bolt of lightning to come down and strike me and tell me what I'm supposed to do. But it never came. It was back in 2011, I finally had to make a choice. I was working in a cafe in Torquay. It was a Sunday morning, it was noisy, there were kids shouting, plates clattering, people shouting orders all over the place. And I was just standing there in the middle of it all, feeling so frustrated with myself that I'd let myself get back here again and I wasn't living up to my potential. I seriously thought, I'm going to stab somebody with a fork. Or myself, I don't know. It was definitely time to leave. And so, without a backup plan, I quit my job and I also broke up with my husband in the same week. It was not a good Christmas that year. So, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves to think this way? Where did this come from? Why do we expect a job to fulfill us? I don't know, 100 years ago, we just went to work to put money and food on the table. We didn't care about a job fulfilling us. But I wanted something more. I was out of work for ages. I applied to everything. I applied for bakers and florists. I applied for Bunnings, refusing ever to go back into hospitality. I applied for everything. And I couldn't even get a job in Bunnings. I'd worked in the UK equivalent of Bunnings years ago while I was in high school, and even been in one of those adverts with a drill, and I couldn't even get a job there. I was out of work for 6 months, and if I hadn't been depressed before, I sure was now. I finally found a job as a receptionist in a printer's. After 2 years, I'd had 4 promotions and learnt everything I could. And again, I found myself feeling frustrated. I was bored. Surely there had to be something more. I started reading this book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This was more like it. I wanted to create freedom. I wanted to live a laptop lifestyle. I wanted to work wherever I wanted in the world. And so what do people do who are trying to figure out their life? They become a life coach and move to Bali. I studied for a year and became a life coach and moved to a place called the Thrive Hive. With a bunch of young entrepreneurs, we all lived together and created this awesome place. We shared workshops with each other every day, and I literally was living the dream, coaching my clients who were in Dubai and Hong Kong as I sat by the pool using my laptop. It was great. I had a great time. And it was here I created a 5-step system to help my clients. Number 1, connect to yourself. 2, clarify your dreams and desires. 3, clear the emotional BS. BS meaning belief systems. Create your desires and dreams and commit to change. So I don't have time to go through all 5 steps today, but I'll touch on connect and commit. So just by a show of hands, how many people here have ever done an online test to see what kind of job they should do? Some kind of aptitude test or Myers-Briggs personality test, yeah? So these are some of the hilarious results that I've got from doing these as jobs I'm supposed to be good at. Like seriously, train driver? I mean, the idea of being in a box all day does not appeal to me. We use our heads so often, we test ourselves, we try and use logic. And to find your passion and what you're good at, you need to go somewhere else, somewhere around here. You can't find it by doing tests. We need to connect to ourselves. The best way to do this is to start at the beginning. Back in your childhood, what were the games you liked to play? For me, I love to paint and draw. I love to go to parties. I love to read. And funnily enough, I still love doing all of those things today. If money wasn't a problem, if we didn't have money, what would you like to do? For me, it's entertaining people, it's being creative, it's playing. And as I was coaching my clients through this, I realized, damn it, coaching is not really answering all of those things either. I moved back to Melbourne and had to start the job search again. I came to Melbourne and I joined what is known as the gig economy. While I was in Bali, I'd heard about the gig economy and I met a girl who worked for a company called Sidekicker. It's basically like Tinder for jobs. You just have an app, you swipe through, find a job you like, and if your skills and personality match, you get the job. This seemed great to me. I thought I'd just do this in between other jobs, but this became my thing. And I've been doing this now for the last 3 years. I only pick jobs that align with my values, that allow me to entertain, to play, to teach, to have fun and be creative. These are the kind of jobs that I've done in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and I've got more on this list. I just didn't have the space to put it on the slide. So I've got to be a team building facilitator where I play games with adults. I've got to play with kids and make crafts. I'm an Uber driver. That allows me to entertain people who sit with me for 4 hours driving along. Yes, I did a 4-hour trip once. That was a long one. Now, I'm not saying everyone here should quit their job and join the gig economy, but there are benefits to working this way. I have the freedom to choose when I work and where I work. I get to choose what kind of jobs I have. I only pick things that align to my values, and I get rewarded with 5 gold stars most of the time, which feels nice. So if you're sitting there and thinking, okay, I'm not really happy with my job, I just don't know what to do about it, I say to you, commit to change. Act your way into believing you can do anything. And when I say act, I don't mean pretend to be something. I don't mean fake it till you make it. I mean take action. You've put yourself where you are and you have the power to change it. Now, I also say, from my experience, don't be so dramatic, be pragmatic. You don't have to quit your job and be out of work for 6 months. There's probably better things to do, better ways to do it. You don't need to start a 4-year degree. If you want to be an architect, why not start by drawing a picture of a house every day for a month, going to speak to an architect and see if that's the kind of job that you want to have. Get some work experience there first. You don't need to stab somebody with a fork. Why don't you ask in your company, can you do some work experience in another department? So, society praises experts, people that focus and do 10,000 hours in something. And so I always felt really sort of flaky for doing so many jobs. I've had over 80 jobs in my life. I've done everything from being a clown, I've done hospital radio DJ, I've literally done it all. And I used to feel really worried about this, that there was something wrong with me. I mean, being called a jack of all trades, master of none, or having career ADD are not exactly complimentary terms. But now I've learned to embrace this, and this is the way of the future. Back in the day, people had one job for life. Today, you may have 10, 20 jobs. In the future, people will have 10 jobs at a time. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, a quarter of our working population at the moment are in casual work. It's estimated that 40% of the workforce will be flexible or on demand in the future. This is the way we're heading. And if you're not ready to adapt, you might get left behind. Is this work sustainable? I don't know. I tell you, sometimes it feels like I'm on a roller coaster. I don't have work sometimes for weeks, and I freak out and think, I'm going to get a proper job. But then I'm like, no, this is what I love to do. I have to be my own PA, my own accountant. I have to be really organized. But I love what I do. Every morning I get up, I meet new people, I have new challenges. And I've learned to say yes to more opportunities. So I'm saying to you, if you're out there thinking that your job's not right, there are other ways to look at things. There are other ways to find extra work, other ways to satisfy more of your needs. I believe that monogamy is overrated in love and in work life. And if you think the same, maybe it's time to tell your boss you want to see other people. Thank you.